Hey, so today we're going to learn how to set up and host our own personal website on GitHub. We're going to use this really nifty tool that GitHub provides called github-pages, and we're going to go ahead and set up our own website. For this example, we're going to set up a simple hello world inside of an index.html file, which would essentially give us a proof of concept that the website works. But essentially, you could extend this to anything that's got front-end code in it, right? It could have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, or your entire website. So the very first thing to do is, of course, log into github.com. I am already logged in. You can go onto the upper left corner and click new to create a new repository. It is important here to note that the name of this repository cannot be random. It cannot be something that you want. It has to be your username.github.io. In my case, my username is Devil Sahil, but if you do not know your own GitHub username, what you can do is go to the top right of your screen, click on a little picture icon, and you should see signed in as and then the username for your GitHub profile. So let's go ahead and write username, in which case, in my case, it's devilsahil.github.io. It says it's available. That's perfect, right? And we can initialize with the README. And let's just go ahead and create this repository. The very first, well, this was the first step. So the very next step that we're going to take is go ahead and clone this repository. We could copy the URL up here or click on the code button and copy this URL in here. And let's just jump into the code editor of your choice. So I'm going to be using Visual Studio Code. It's got nice Git integrations enabled automatically. Click on that little source control button in your left sidebar and go to clone repository. Paste the URL you just copied, select the default repository location, and say yes, I would like to open the repository. Awesome. Go ahead and open a new terminal. I am using Windows Subsystem for Linux. You could possibly be using CMD or PowerShell or I don't know, Bash if you're using Linux, ZSH if you're using Mac. And let's go ahead and see what directory we're currently in. Okay, so it seems that I am already in my repository because I just did open it from the prompt that came up in Visual Studio Code. So the very next thing that we're going to do is create an index.html file and write something in there. Of course, we're going to do the quintessential hello world, which is what everybody seems to like to do at the very first go. So let's go ahead and say echo hello world. And let's just send this to index.html. And on your left sidebar, you should now see an index.html file created with hello world in there. Awesome. Now that we have this, let's go ahead and push this to our repository. We're going to go ahead and add all files that are not being tracked. So that's git add dot or period. And then you say git commit -m. Let's just say first commit. All right. So we were successfully able to commit this with the commit message first commit. The next thing, the obvious next step is to go ahead and push this commit to our remote repository. So let's go ahead and say git push. And this should either work or it should ask me for my username and password. All right, so it's asking me for my username because I'm not authenticated yet through Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to go ahead and write my username and I'm going to write my password. And once I'm done with that, well, it says, yeah, it's successful, right? So we were able to successfully push index.html with hello world written in there. Now, next, what we're going to do is go back to our browser and refresh. We see an index.html file up here now, and if we click on it, we see hello world in there. Awesome. That is actually it. What we're going to do now is just take that little name that you put with the repository, the devilsahil.github.io or your username.github.io, and we're going to attach HTTPS to it, and that should be it. And let's say HTTPS and press enter, and there you go. You have hello world, and we have our website up and running. You can share this link with anybody and they should be able to see whatever front-end code that you've put onto your website show up right there in front of them, well, rendered by the browser in front of them. So that was a quick and easy, less than 5-minute tutorial on how to set up and host your website for free using GitHub and GitHub Pages. Thanks.